I mean, I try to make payments like for the network provider, but the billing failed, and there was no way for me to make the payment. But I'm still gonna try again later and see if I'm able to make the payment. And I have enough, I guess, for them to bill my card. I'm gonna try again later. But let's continue this. So we get the available nodes, we find the node whose name is equals to the app, right? And I think now we are getting that. So we consider log. Sorry. Let me open back the VS Code. They're still live. Okay. Um, okay. It's one of npm 100. I was trying to switch between tab. So now let's reload. So the app is showing, the event is also showing as well. That's cool. That's cool. But one thing I want us to note here is, let's say we come here and we said it's send a hook or a web hook, send web hook and its action. So let's say that's what we're using. Okay. Now let's reload this. It's a trigger, right? The app. But now you see the send web hook is also, but it's a trigger. Why is it showing when we are on? Like it's an action, but it's showing on the trigger. So we need to fix that as well. Right. So for us to fix that, we have to filter. We have to filter this, right? So we have to filter the events to events whose type equals okay. So I'm just gonna do the get at the top here. Const event type is gonna be event type, and I'm gonna do get selected node dot type. So this is gonna be there as string. And that string that's gonna work, but we're just gonna do as any. And here we can do where the type is equals to this event type. Event type. but we did that here, not here. Is the node element, right? We will have the event type, and we set the type as any, and okay. Okay, event type as any, yeah, event type as any, but that's okay. Let's see what that does for us. We're not saving this yet, so this wouldn't matter. So console log is trigger, and that's not what we're looking for, because event type that we're expecting that to be zero, either 0 or 1. So because that is what we've always been getting. So, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do if the get selected node the type equal trigger equal action, then we're going to use event type the action s is going to be just a trigger. It's going to be trigger else event type the action, right? So let's console log that and see. Okay, it's 1. Okay, that seems it's going to work for us. So if we click on this, go to event, and now we see send the webhook only. And if I click on this, right, this is the action. I come here, we see the actions, right? And since we're having webhook, so you see send the webhook. So that works. So that's working now. We send the harp, but I think even instead of sending the harp, we're going to have the harp saved, but currently we don't have it. We're saving the harp, so we need to have update data, update node data. So for update node data, is going to take in data, but so we're going to do set. We're going to have the state, and we're going to set the node nodes. We're going to say state the nodes the map. So we get the node, so the n dot id equals so state dot selected node dot id. With that, we want to update the data to be and the data and data, right? Else we just want to return the end. No, not here. Here. Else we're just gonna return the end node. So we're gonna format that, and we're going to set this up here, right? which is update node data. It's going to take in the data and it's going to return a void. And the data that is going to return is going to be node props data. That's what it takes in. Node prop data. Okay. So if we come here and we are selecting this, we have on change, or let's see, we only have the on change. We're expecting on change, and how does our on change works? We are not making use of it here, so we need to make use of it, which is here. So on change, we want to send in the current value. That is what we're sending. We're going to send in the current value. We're going to send in the option. Okay. Which is important. So we have on change, which is going to take in a value, right? It's going to deal with something, right? The same thing is going to happen here as well. So how do we deal with this? So we have the option, right? And we have the option. So we have option of value that we can use any way we want to use it. So in here we're sending, so we have to send update node data, right? State dot update node data, right? And we can pass that here, and in here we can call that function, right? The data that we're trying to pass in is going to be, so we have the API that we're trying to use, right, which is going to be option dot value, and we also want to set the if we check the readme that we're building out, is we have the node that we're trying to use, so we can call it node then, right? And we, apart from the node, there's something, no, this here, we have the API, right? We have the event. Yes, this is what I'm looking for, the API, the event. So now in this node settings, we have the API and we have the event. So we're going to set the event to be null, right? We're just going to do basically the same thing here. The difference is this is just going to be setting the event, just the event here. The reason why we're setting the API and the event here is that whenever the API changes, we want to set all the other data as empty, right? So we can set the params to be empty. We can set the authentication ID to be null, right? Because we see we have an authentication ID as well. The authentication ID, the params, the API, right? So we set that those to be empty. And let's go back to the readme. We're having the title, which in our case, I don't think let me see how that is in here. The default nodes that we're having here, we're having everything in here. So it's the label, right? And we're going to be making the label a little bit dynamic until they change the label title, right? And if they have changed the label title, we also have to probably indicate like like is label changed, something like that, right? So that we know they have changed the label and we don't have to change the label for them, right? Or for now, we don't allow them to change the label. We just do the label automatically, right? And yeah. So one thing that I'm still gonna do is we have we have option, right? So for option, I'm still gonna have icon, which is optional, right? Which is gonna have this type, the icon type. It's gonna have the icon type. Yeah, this so type of icon, and it's gonna have a description, right? Which is gonna be string. Those are optionals, so it's not gonna affect anything. If you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. It doesn't really matter that much, right? And now here we have to get the selected node. So we do selected node dot data dot event dot API, right? And the default value is going to be selected node dot data dot event, right? I have an issue here. Enough. I don't know, but I just don't like seeing that something is having an issue. So it's this key is index keys index. Okay, I think that should be the problem. And the same thing for shape. Alright. We haven't dealt with the shape. Okay. That doesn't matter for now. Let's just continue. I think it's when the stuff is small, I guess. Yeah, when it becomes smaller, you have that shit. Okay. What's the other? What's the load? Still have quite some. This would have been handled by the React flow, but we're still going to see how we can fix that. Alright, we're still going to see. So now if you go to app, you see select app. Now if I select webhook, we are expecting this to change, right? Let's try. We're expecting this to change. We're expecting the options to come in dynamically, right? So is in this node settings, I want to see if we are getting the selected node of data.api. So let's put that here, and if we change to web, we are not getting that at all. Yeah. So why are we not getting that? It's because we are updating the node, right? So if I exit this and I select this again, the 6 now shows up, right? It shows up now and I'm able to select this. It's because it's not updating the node, like the selected node. It's not updating that. It's updating the node array. It's updating that specific element inside of that node array. So how do we fix this? So that it updates the selected node as well. Okay. Selected now. Okay, let's come here, and what we can do is where we're updating the node data, we do we set the selected node as well. That's what we're gonna do. So selected node is going to have state. That's selected node. And then the data is going to be state. That's selected node of data, right? And the passing data as well. So format this. Um, Selected is node pops, right? So that's the if not selected node return, then this should work. Okay. So that was a problem because this might be null. Okay, so now if we select this and go webhook, right, you see now it changes automatically, and now we say this, we go to Stripe, it changes, but we don't have an event for Stripe trigger as a trigger. That's not right. That's not right. See, the webhook is going, but for the Stripe it's not. So let's check Stripe out. So we have Stripe. Okay. Yeah, it's Stripe, so which is correct. Yeah, it's the same thing. Let's reload this and try again. So you have to select this. You're able to catch the hook, Stripe, but is nothing for Stripe. So that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. Okay, what if we reload and the first thing we select is Stripe? Stripe. Okay. Selected node data event is the webhook, catcher hook, Stripe. You see it's resetting that to null. And instead of being null, I think we could probably just set it to empty. Maybe that's gonna work. Like, I don't like the way it's showing. So webhook, we select this catcher hook, then go to Stripe. It's probably still, I mean, it's not. It's not. The default value changed. Which is the same thing for this. So there is a default value. So we look the option through, but we're not able to get anything. We're not able to get anything for Stripe. Let's go to workflow here. Let's come to get app event, and let's do this for Stripe. The app is Stripe. Okay, that's empty. After the filtering, let's remove the filter. Okay, so we did the events dot filter with the type. Okay, so I'm just going to do comma, and I'm going to do, and it's going to be surprising because it's one, but oh, okay, I'm going to do this as well. I'm going to say this. Okay, so I just have to use this. Maybe that's like, there's no reason for me to use any of this, right? But why did it work previously? Okay, is there any? So we select Stripe, and now we're getting the subscription. We select webhook, and we get this catch-up. Okay. Okay, so we're showing this now, and we're going to style this to be more proper and you know visually appealing when we get to that point, right? But like now, let's go to this. Uh, let's close this. Select this, right? I'm gonna select now, but there was a slack. If I click on this, okay, I'm clicking on this, right? This one. But I switch to this. The webhook is still before, like it's still showing there. Okay, now to the default value to this selected node dot data dot API, right? So when I switch to this, that is not working. It's only the clicking on the node elements. We have the props. But what if, like, I think what we should be doing is we should be setting the selected node to be just to be an ID, right? And if we have like get current node, then we can sort of do like um, the nodes, then find the ID, the nodes that have the ID, right? And then we just display the data. Like we only need the ID and the type, right? We want to know the type of node it is. I think that's I think that's basically just what we do. Basically just that. What do you think? Because if you're setting the selected node, you're setting these, then there's going to be some complication. And now if you see, okay, because there's this impression something is slacking, right? It's like it's slacking. I have to close this, ease and open this before everything else sort of shows up, right? If I switch to this now, you see like empty, though it's getting the nodes, right? But it's not showing the selected node. So I think we sort of need to work on that aspect, right? Though we're saving this into the object and yeah, yeah. I mean, we can always change this. Like we can change this to be in the node settings. What we are having here, the default value here, is going to be selected node dot data dot label. And I have to close this before it shows up. Like if I click on this, I have to sort of close it before it shows up. Which is let's do the on change here as well. We have the on change event, and we have this update node data, and we have the label, and the label is value. But the problem that I have to by closing this and like say okay, it's catch all level now, right? If I switch here, I can change this to send an email using Gmail, something like that, and it sort of stays, like it sort of stays in the states. But I have to close this, so we need to figure that out. Okay, that's one thing that we need to figure out there. See, but this and also the heading, we also need to figure this out as well. It sort of goes a long way, right? And I'm sure we don't really want it to be doing that. Like now I have to close, open, and change. Right, select the event, to webhook, let's send a hook, and now one point is some apps doesn't require authentication, while some apps require authentication. So which is part of what we need to look into, right? We already said that like there's going to be authentication, right? And there's going to be an object. So if what we're just going to be checking is that if there is authentication, then that means the app requires authentication. So like even if you need to add as many nodes as possible, you just come here, add the node, what would you want to add, right? And it sort of work out of the box. That's what we're trying to get to. Like, okay, does your node require authentication? Yeah, it requires authentication. What type of authentication is it? Oh, it's an API key. Okay, okay, it's an OAuth. Then you had your OAuth. Like, okay, what's the type? The type is what is OAuth or API key, right? And what's the display name? Right, it's webhook. Webhook. Let's say I'm just gonna put like here, and we have something else that is used, which is the name. What is the name that I'm giving to the authentication? Right, is webhook. So this name is also going to be the same name that this authentication must have. Like, it's not. I'm talking about like this name. I'm talking about the name here, right? Because that is what we're going to be using to filter it out. Or what we can do is that instead of you having to put in the type of authentication it is, all you just have to do in here is you just have to say, oh, what's the display name and what is the name that you're trying to give to it. And in here, right, we're having display name, the name, the type. Okay. What we can do is that we have the description of the authentication, right? And you sort of just have to pass in the description of authentication here. Like, it's just going to be, let's say it's Google authentication dot, it's just going to be the description, something like that. So like you can just import your authentication in here and put it in here, and authentication, we can use the icon, we can use the stuff without having to like call the authentication object array to figure out what authentication you're trying to use, right? We can do that. I think that might be like our option that we're going to that we might have to like actually have to do. You just have to add the static to the authentication as well, authentication description as well. That we have the static, and it's just sort of going to work out of the box. So that's like the accomplishment we're trying to get to. So we have gotten the nodes to the front end, right? Get the nodes, the events that you can use based on the action. You can change the title, right? Email, something like that, and it's Gmail, send email, so like you are able to do that. We still need to figure out the issue with this, right? But that is just what we have, and it's going to work out of the box. So we are getting there, we are moving closer, right? So the moment we figure out everything in like clicking, showing, oh, it's an authentication, it shows your authentication, it has some properties, we show the properties. Then we go back to the what to each node and start working on what on the functions and methods on the methods that we're going to be using to execute the node, right? Okay, like the methods for getting options, the method for getting uh, like the method for getting options, right? The method for testing, because you also need to be able to test as well. We need to be able to test. So the option for testing, be able to do that, and yeah. So when we do testing, it means the testing is just listening, right? It's just a listener, really. No, no. Some tests are listeners, why some are what are actions. Sorry, triggers are the listeners. Like they are listening for something to come in, right? Why the actions are like those that have to perform a certain action, like send an email, right? So then we can run the test, and yeah. So which means we should be able to call individual node, right? We should be able to call individual node and test it out. So like let's see if we go to Zapier, if we go to Zapier, we go to my Zap, we go to this and type this up, and let's go to the Gmail. Send email as event. And one thing you notice is that yes, you have to if you change this sort of go back to like empty, right? You choose the account, and one thing that you notice is that if this you see like the for webhook you don't have accounts because like there's no account, right? There's like no account. There's no account at all. So that's it. So for the send email, we do two. Um, we don't need the CC. We select the from. So the options you have looked into that the previous day, right? The name can be from show. No reply to testing Zap. Okay, body type name. This is this. This is show. Welcome. Something like that. Simple as that. And continue. And now for the test, let's go to the network and you do test step, and now it's we're having this wow. I don't think that's it. No, that's not it. Then we have the event. So now you see the event, you see the properties, right? The properties is this, the account, the event action, chosen. I think they usually use the API, the selected API. You see the step action name is test, the step ID, the okay, Okay, we're able to get the selected API. So which means, let's go back to this action. If I change something to, like, let me try to change this. So what it does is it sends the payload, which we can see that they are madly encrypted, like they are encrypted, so we can see that. So they send the payload and they have this bundle time. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, this is the payload that they are sending. So they are sending this payload and we make changes. So when we test, like we say ROM, now it sends a ROM, right? The V2 seems to be something that's just automatically, but this is a ROM, like room, I think. So data hog the com slash API slash 2, and I'm not sure about that. But when they try to test, right, and send an email, so do like a retest. So they do a retest, like they do a WA, which basically doesn't have anything false. Then they do an event. That's they send an event. Then the room is sent, which basically have no payload, nothing. Okay. Event doesn't get anything. Like it doesn't provide us much. It provides us the account ID that they're using. It gives us the page path, the page VID, the selected API, the session. So they are probably storing this in session or something, I don't know. And but this ROM is what I'm thinking about, like it's setting the user plan, but I think this room, oh, this room sort of be like, I think the room is an analytics. It's for analytics, but the run, it is sending this API that cool over step testing version 1 zaps. So if you see zaps 2267, okay, then the step is let's go gen is this, which is this step. Wait, if I switch to this, does this have like gen 17? I mean, it's basically the same thing. No, 1009, 1010. Okay, so each node has like sort of like their ID, but I like gen underscore something. So now what it's trying to do is that it's trying to fetch the output of that test and that was run against this account ID, right? The account ID is 10, but this is the account, and the account here we're able to get everything. Oh, I'm confused. Not so much, but I mean, the basic idea there is that they send a request to the backend to sort of make the, like, do the testing, right? They're sending in the basic stuff because they are sort of automatically saving this. So if I try to reload, it does reload, but it's my changes are saved, right? Like my changes are saved. So I think what is happening is that they are auto saving these changes, right? They're auto saving it in draft, right? And they have like diff like they have the draft, like they have the step that they have the step ID, right? But it's in draft. So if I say um this is the draft because I've not published it, but I think they're automatically saving this into their what, into their server, because you might make some mistakes or something. I think that's what they do, and we might as well be able to do that. I'm just not sure how that works though, but I'm sure we can do it. We just have to like the context provider, right? That we can do the use mutation and sort of update the database. Yeah, and update database. But we also have to note that they're having the one, if you have one that is published, I mean we don't really have to care about that for now. Along the way we care about, like, okay, this draft, this published version, right? And when you're done with the draft you can sort of publish it, and the current published version will go into the history, right? We go into the history because that version, right? And we have like change history, and it says that they did it based on like details, okay. And we have like linked access, we don't have any nodes. This app was not run. The status, the settings, the version. We don't get to see the version because we're not in the pro version or pro. So I mean, so that's what we have. Let's just uh, go to convex. Let's go to convex. Let's go to the schema. For workflows, we have the owner ID. So I'm going to open the readme by the side. Yeah, and this is how we're gonna have it. The workflow is just gonna have its own title, right? Absolutely, it's gonna have the active, right? And we're gonna have nodes, which is gonna be v.array, and inside of the array we're gonna have v dot object, right? And in that object we're gonna have id, which is gonna be v dot string, right? And we're going to have the type, which is going to be v dot Right. This union, whatever. I'm just gonna give it a string. Leave it a string. So we have in the node. So we're gonna have connection apps as well. Connections. Just like we have nodes, which is gonna be v dot array, v dot object, and each of those is also gonna have its own ID. V dot string. It's gonna have the source. You can as well open the workflow to this side for us to get the idea of what we're trying to say. So it's gonna have ID, it's gonna have source, which is for the string as well. It's going to have the target, which is video string as well. So, and it's gonna have position, which is gonna be v dot object. And that object is going to have x, which is v dot number, right, and y, v dot number. So we have the x and y, nice, and it's going to have the data this time, which is v dot object, and it's gonna have label, which is v dot string. It's going to have description, which is v dot string. It's going to have API, v dot string as well. It's going to have the event, v dot string. It's going to have the authentication ID, which is v dot string. It's going to have params, which is v dot object, v dot header, object, v dot header. That's not gonna work, kind of. But we have the key, which is v dot string. It's gonna be this. I don't know how that is gonna work. But this is just gonna be what we're gonna be having for now. So I'm gonna just say v dot any. So we have the schema created, and we're going to be continuing from this tomorrow, which is the next day, next episode. And this is just the basic schema that I think we're going to need, right? We have the title of the workflow, or we can change the name. Oh, that is okay. We have the v, we have the owner ID, we have the title, the active, which is whether we have the nodes, we have the connections, right? Though there are still some other things, right, that we might need to add in here, right? If we are going to let's say if we are going to make it draggable, I don't think we're trying to make it draggable, we're just trying to make it look like Zapier's, right? And that's just what we have for now. And for this param, we need to look for other options, because it's literally just have to be an object, right? Because like we have going to have some parameters that we can have there, right? And So that will be all for today. And if you like the video, kindly leave a like, comment below for anything else that you think we might be missing, or your thought process on these. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you get updates when we go live next time. And make sure to turn on your notification bell. And we'll see each other tomorrow on this workflow builder series. Thank you guys. Peace.